Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here with you as always. It is 7 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee. It is June 15th, 2026. Holy cow. Half the year has gone by, folks. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. To all the Puerto Ricans, hope you had a wonderful Puerto Rican Day parade yesterday. Haven't really researched much about it, but I'm sure it was a lot of fun. Hope everybody had a good time. So we're going to jump in here. Have a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to be discussing basically writers' rounds. Now, I talked a little bit about it on one of the shows last week because it was part of a larger subject that I was talking about. But I'm going to break down just this one subject now, which is a writer's round. Now, what exactly is a writer's round, right? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like, right? It's a bunch of songwriters sitting around and they perform. They perform some of their material. Sometimes they perform not their covers, but their interpretation of covers. They're a little bit slightly different, which we had one artist do that on the last writers round, and doing behind the scenes of a writers round. There's a lot that goes on, and sometimes it's not just a okay, we're gonna have a writers round, let's begin. No, it would have started already, maybe even years of you being in the industry or you liking musicians or knowing musicians. If you're in Nashville, there's a lot of musicians here in Nashville, right? And one of the benefits of being here in Nashville is that you can put writers rounds together with artists that are maybe similar, of the same kind of caliber as far as songwriters, and you can put things together. Not, I don't want to say easy because it's still always it's always a challenge, to find a venue to put everyone together, to get the scheduling going, to get the marketing out there, to prepare the room, to have all those things. It can be a little bit challenging, and with every single writers round you're going to run into different challenges. The more you do of them, obviously the better you become at resolving these things, right? But a writers round may look effortless from the audience perspective, but a great deal of planning happens behind the scenes. The process usually begins with choosing the right mix of songwriters, artists who complement each other musically, bring different perspectives, and can create an engaging conversation through their songs. From there, organizers must secure a venue, coordinate schedules, handling promotion, manage technical needs, and make sure every participant understands the format. Creating a welcoming atmosphere is just as important as the logistics because the goal is both to make the artist and the audience feel connected. So there's a lot of different things that in that paragraph right there, right? That I want to kind of break down a little bit. So the right mix of songwriters, I I kind of went the other way with the last one. We went a little bit different. I wanted to have a lot of different perspectives in one show because I wanted to give the audience. This was the first one at this particular place, which was at the Church of Scientology hosted it in their beautiful space that they have, right? And we have a Wednesday night open, so we're going to be doing these writers round. But one of the things that I really really loved about my brain, because I'm a little bit weird, but I thought instead of just bringing musicians from, okay, like all these are all country singers, these are all R&B singers, these are all folk singers. I thought, why don't we bring a mix of everything? So the any other artists out there, when they actually see some of the clips, because I have some clips that I've shared already on the Writers Round page on Facebook. You can go to Writers Round CC Nashville and check that out. Um, I wanted them to come in and be like, oh, so I can be this kind of performer. I can be an instrumentalist, which we had one. I can be an R&B singer, which we had one. I can be a country folk rock singer, which we had one. I could be a folk singer, which we had one. So there was a nice blend, and they all loved each other's performances, because, when you're a musician, you really love music. That's the whole point of it. It's like you just love to be around other talented musicians. And when you hear someone, even though you're a country singer, but you hear some classical piece by somebody, you're gonna appreciate it. I mean, that was the wonderful thing about this event. And I'm gonna go over some of the artists that performed at this first one, which I thought was a great mix. A really really great mix. And I have a connection to some of these musicians as well. So we'll talk about that. So when I recently organized this along with some other people over there at the church, I was reminded that the strongest events are built around community. A writers' round is not simply a concert where performers take turns on the stage, right? It is an opportunity for songwriters to share the stories behind their songs, learn from one another, and build relationships that can lead to further collaborations. That's what I like too. Too, a couple of the artists actually connected and exchanged information, which I thought was really cool. That sense of connection is something I also aim to create through the You Are the Magic concert series, which is something that I also started as well. This wasn't one of them. It was sort of one, but it wasn't really. It was sort of a trial for this writers round. The You Are the Magic concert series is something that I did. I did one of them at the Why Not Saloon over in Bellevue, and it was very successful. And I had some great bands on there. We focused on bringing bands together and really making it about letting the artists know that the magic is about them, right? You are the magic, right? You bring that. And that was the conversation that I would have with the artists to bring them into that series in particular. The writers round, which is kind of gonna be a blend of all these things at some point, um, was more just bringing in artists and having them do their original songs and having them tell a little story about each song, which I thought was really great. Hearing the songs, hearing the stories of how they came up with the idea for the song and how they put it together. It's always one of the most fun things I can do. Um, so it's really bringing audiences and artists together in a meaningful way, right? So let me go over some of the artists that performed. So the first one that we had, um, let me see, which one do I have here? So this is Josco, and what I did in the venue, I took their picture and I made these little background things. So whenever they're performing, I would just switch over to them when they were doing their piece and stuff. So it was, just good for photo opportunities. They had their own photo people as well, and I had some better photos taken where I was able to, this is cropped very much. This is just for like social media and stuff, but there were some larger photos that you can see on our page, actually on the Writers Round CC Nashville Writers Round Facebook page. You can check that out. And here we had wait, that was Josco. Here we had John Statham. Now John I've known for many years. John, when he was young, stayed at my house when I was living in New York. I was married, and we had this little one-bedroom apartment. We still had no kids back then, and he needed a place. He was playing with the band. He was playing with a friend of mine actually, and she needed a place for her guitar player and her drummer to sleep. So I said, yeah, they could stay with my house. So they slept at my place and stuff. So it was really cool. So I've known him then, and I've known his music. And I asked him to be in this one. He said yes, and he was amazing. Love to hear his stories as well. Now, Josco, I met here in Nashville. Wonderful guitar player. He plays mainly instrumentalist, but he has that Jeff Beck style of playing. He also plays classical pieces. He played a lot of classicals here and a lot of flamingo style guitar. He's an overall amazing musician, and he has a studio down in Murfreesboro, here in Nashville, in Tennessee, and so he was fantastic. He was really great. And then we have Isis Christopher. She's in the middle there. Some of you may know Isis Christopher because she's my artist. This is that's her right there. and I had her perform. She was totally willing to perform, and she was great. She did a cover of uh, "I Want to Dance with Somebody" by Whitney Houston, and I thought, huh, cover, okay, well that's fine. Let's see what she does, and she really did a nice job. It was such a different take on the song, and I really loved what she did there. That was really fantastic. And I did a whole episode on her and JHS Talent Management, so you can go back and look at that episode if you want to learn more about her. And last but certainly not least, my good friend Stephen Gary. Stephen Gary, I've known for a very, very, very long time as well. He is a wonderful singer, folk, rock, just a great, great overall guy as well. And I was in a band with him really briefly here in Nashville called Mockingbird Canyon Road, which the name is still really cool. I always like the name, and so we still have the name. So I don't know, maybe something can come together on that. It's sort of I want to put together for those of you who know Widespread Panic. It's a good band that I really like. I like jam bands. I'm one of those guys that just I don't mind going to a concert. The Grateful Dead or Dead and Company later on. Rest in peace, Bob Weir. But those guys, I would love to hear them jamming for like 20 minutes on a song. Instrument, just a lot of instruments and guitars, and I just love that. So Mockingbird Canyon Road sounds like something that could turn into something like that. Anyway, I'm digressing there, but that was Stephen Gary, and he performed some songs, told some great stories, had some really fun songs, actually, really, really great songs. So, and that was the first clan, and here we are all in a little mix. I'm the little guy there with the hat. And so we had a wonderful time. Over at the end, right at the other end, is Lane DeBlasi. She's actually also one of the organizers of this Writers Round. Let me get a sip of coffee because my throat is drying up. Oh, wonderful coffee. In case anybody's interested in the coffee I drink, I'll show you that in a little bit. All right, so there we are. Our first Writers Round at this location. I'm doing Writers Round in other places. I do have conversations with a few other venues that I'm working on, and I kind of want to rotate them. I kind of want to do a little tour of the Writers Round. You Are the Magic Writers Round, and just have them at different locations. And so that's always something that I've been wanting to do. The first one I did at the Writers, not the Writers, at the in Bellevue, which was called the Why Not Saloon. Unfortunately, that place closed down. I would have had more there. I would have had my next one probably there, but unfortunately, they're not there anymore. Maybe something will go in its place, and I'll circle back and see if there's something there. But here we are again. Here I am again. I'm sorry. So the Writers Round. These events are especially valuable for songwriters because they provide a space where the craft itself is celebrated. Exactly. You are the magic. Listening to get here, listeners get to hear songs in their most personal form, often accompanied by the inspiration, challenges, and experiences that shape them. For emerging writers, this can be a chance to gain confidence, receive feedback, and grow their network. For established artists, it is an opportunity to connect more deeply with audiences and support the next generation of creators. Like John Statham, for instance. John has an album. His last album was produced by Billy Sheehan, the legendary bass player for Mr. Big and David Lee Roth and Winery Dogs. I mean, he's like considered one of the greatest bass players of all time. He produced John Statham's last record, which was one of my favorite records. I have it all on my playlist, and I love to listen to his record. You can check him out on johnstatham.com as well. But he's a guy who's out there, and he came in and he performed amazingly, and people just really, really enjoyed it. It was great to hear his stories and his collaborations that he did with Billy and some of the other songs that some of the songs I've heard, but he did a couple of that I've heard, but not live that often. So that was a lot of fun. So one of the biggest lessons from organizing writers rounds and concert series is that successful events are more about. Let me do that whole sentence again because I'm stumbling over myself. Let me get a cup of coffee. How y'all doing? It is Monday morning. I had a long weekend, long day yesterday, 12-hour day, working on an event, and I am tired. I got my chiropractor session this morning. I'm gonna be going to, and I got some other stuff. I'm gonna spend some time with my kids. Actually, haven't hung out with them as much the last couple of last week, actually, just because I've been really busy. But we're gonna do some hanging out today, and Friday we have a big family thing that we're gonna be hanging out. So, all right. One of the biggest lessons from organizing writers' rounds and concert series is that successful events are about more than entertainment. They create momentum. Every showcase, conversation, and connection can open doors to new performances, collaborations, and career opportunities. When artists come together to share their work, they not only strengthen their own careers, they also help strengthen the creative community around them. And that to me is the biggest, most wonderful thing is that, there's an opportunity to build community. So now these four artists know each other. Now these four artists can collaborate if they want to. They can have their own writers rounds. If they do have writers rounds, they can actually suggest other writers. There's this wonderful synergy of positivity and energy and creativity coming together to build a really strong artistic community that's the foundation of what we do, right? I mean, that is why we do what we do, is to influence other people, right? Is to get really uh to organize, and to put these together. And I talked about this last week, and I think it's important that actually no, I talked about it on my other show, on the show, the Sunday night show, um which we taped it on last week and it aired last night. But one of the great things, and one of the things that I always say, is being industrious, right? I use that word a lot, right? Because it's one of the precepts of the way to happiness. It's a common sense guide to better living. Where is it? Right there. And as always, I always put this website up here because if you want to get your own copies, you can just go right here to thewaytohappiness.org and get your own copies of this. It's 21 precepts, a common sense guide to better living. I use it every day in my life, and I just think it's a wonderful tool. But when he talks about being industrious here, right? So check this out. It says, I'm going to read a little bit of a section here. I'm gonna read this really quickly because I have a little bit of time here. So be industrious is number 16 of the 21 precepts here of the way to happiness. Work is not always pleasant, but few are unhappier than those who lead a purposeless life. Idle, a purposeless, idle, and bored existence. Children gloom to their mother when they have nothing to do. The low mindedness of the unemployed when they are on relief or on the dole. That means unemployment in Europe. That's how they say unemployment. We say unemployment because we're not creative, and they say dole. I kind of like dole. I mean, I don't like unemployment to begin with, but I'm just saying. Um, so I'll do that sentence again. The low mindedness of the unemployed, even when they are on relief or on the dole, is legendary. The retired man with nothing further to accomplish in life perishes from inactivity, as shown by statistics. There's a point to this. This is not. I'm just not reading this for no reason, but you'll see in a second here. Even the tourists, lured by travel agencies to call to leisure, give a tour conductor a bad time if he has nothing for them to do. Sorrow itself can be eased by simply getting busy at something. Morale is boosted to high highs by accomplishment. In fact, it can be demonstrated that production is the basis of morale. Production is the basis of morale. People who are not industrious dump the workload on those around them. They tend to burden one. It is hard to get them along with idle. It is hard to get along with idle people. Aside from depressing one, they can also be a bit dangerous. A workable answer is to persuade such to decide on some activity and get them busy with it. The most lasting benefit will be found to arise from work that leads to actual production. So, when you're working on something that's meaningful, your morale goes up. And this is why I do these things, right? This is why I even do this show here, right? Because morale is elevated and it makes not only me feel good, but it makes those that I'm working with also rises. You see? And so when you're industrious, when you're getting things done, when you're out there working and you're not idle, sitting at home, just like, what should I do? I should do something. It's like that's just such a horrible place to be. It really is a horrible place to be. I know people may think that that's dramatic, but it really, I'm not being dramatic. I'm actually being quite reasonable when I shouldn't be. I should be more on it, but it really is a horrible place to be when you're idle and not being able to accomplish something. And even if you accomplish it yourself and you say you're going to do it, like these writers rounds, right? I'm putting them together, right? The You Are the Magic concert series. I just came up with that and I put it together. I met some artists and stuff because I want to do something that makes others feel good and come together and really create a community. So here are 10 things you must have to make a writers round successful. Go out and make a writers round and then invite me to it if you're in Nashville. And if you're not too far away, I'll drive to it, you know. All right. 10 things you must know. So number 1, the right songwriters, right? So you want to, it depends on where, I'm probably not going to have a lot of people whose content is kind of has any profanity in it, unless it's an ironic kind of thing of a profanity of some way or of some sort. I mean, not that that I care too much about that, but at the same time, if I'm putting a writers round together and I'm inviting people to it, I choose not to do that, right? So having the right songwriters, you want to have a country night, you want to have an R&B night, you want to have a folk music night, you want to have I don't know, a rock night. You want to have a ballad night where it's just ballads. You could just make whatever you want to have. Any kind of choose artists who are talented, professional, and able to engage an audience. Very important here. Listen, a writers round has to showcase good talent. Good talent. And when you pick, you may have, this is a hard thing, by the way. You may have talent that may not have, not that they're not talented or not that they don't have some skill, but maybe they're not at the level of the ones that you want to bring in. And you have to actually bring incredibly talented people into these. Because if people are going to come to a writer's round, they want, if they're going to be 4 performers, they want 4 experiences that take them away into a song, that really transports them to what that song is really about. And in order to do that, you have to have a performer that can really communicate with an audience, really engage, really have a message of something to say. And when if you're just going to bring in your friends because they ask you if they can be in it, and they've learned some extra chords and they know a couple of songs, it's not going to be beneficial. It's not going to be, people aren't going to remember it. Matter of fact, people may never come again. It's true. It really is something. So, number 1, please, the right songwriters. Number 2, a comfortable venue. Get a venue that's comfortable, that has good lighting, good sound, good environment. You want to create an experience not only for the audience, you want them to be comfortable, but you want the artists that show up there to be comfortable, that they're in a space that they feel like they can tell their stories here and really perform their songs here, and it's going to be in a really comfortable environment. Number 3, strong promotion. You do need some strong promotion. You have to use social media, an email list, flyers, personal invitations to build an audience, and that's where that comes into in handy. I've even been thinking of doing a live stream of one of them, and just have it on Facebook so people can see what it is, and just do a little bit, do a one round. Everybody goes through one round and then cut it. If you want to see the rest of it, you got to come to the next one, right? Or come now because we're live, right? So number four, good sound quality. So make sure that you know the system that's there, that it's a sound quality that really engages the people in the back, where everyone can actually get a good, could hear really, really well. Number five, a reliable schedule. So if you pick a night, you say like for this one particular one is Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. So it's six to, what did I say? I think it was supposed to be 7 to 9. I think we did 6 to 8 or something like that. But it's gonna be either 6 to 9 is the window, right, where people can show up, sound check, set up. It's gonna be pretty A to B, get them going, and then we start rolling, right? Number six, an engaging host. Now here's something that we have to work on. I was in the back doing on this one particular one, doing the AV stuff and doing some of the sound and changing the images in the background. So, and I did just announce some of the artists on the mic at the beginning, but I didn't host per se. A writer's round kind of could go along, everyone knowing that who goes next, and we go from usually from left to right, and everybody just does, they know when their turn comes around again. But getting a good host to keep the energy moving, it does help, so we're considering that for the next one. Either I'm going to do it or I'll get somebody to do it. Number seven, storytelling opportunities. Engage artists to share stories behind their song. So before that, you're gonna have conversation with artists. You're gonna tell them, listen, tell the story of how you came up with it. Not long, right? Because we wanna move it along, but get into the story. Have some specific points that you want to talk about on how the song, why the song was written, what inspired you to write the song, what was your head in that moment of writing the songs. People like to hear that part of it, because it brings them into a world that they really do not visit too often. They don't write songs. How does somebody write a song? It's amazing. How do they do that? You get people saying that. Well, here's a little bit of an insight, so you get that. um Number eight, networking time. Okay, so now allow the artists and attendees opportunities to connect before and after the event. Have them come meet, introduce them. Like when Josco walked in, I introduced them to the people. I knew the other three. You know what I mean? I knew them personally. I know Josco personally too, but I not everyone knows each other. So I know these artists, and I'm going to bring up another point here at the end here. That's going to be a little bonus that's important. I want you to stick around for that last piece here. But have them engage with one another, have them talk about it, have them talk about what they're working on, exchange information and stuff. Number 10 on this list is a clear purpose and vision. So I'm sorry, number 9, photo and video content. Yes, get photos, get video of the events. Very, very important to get that. By the way, you have to document it because it's going to be the fodder for the next one. It's going to be how you're going to get people to want to be at the next one, by showing the photos, by showing some video clips. Very, very key factor. Number 10, a clear purpose and vision. Whether it's artist development, community building, fundraising, or showcasing talent, everyone should understand the event's mission. A lot of them for me are just really networking, showcasing talent. That's what it's about for me. Maybe as you get more comfortable and you get more of an audience, you can have a cause behind something. You can do a fundraiser for something. I work. I was at yesterday at the Drug Free World event with a gentleman named Darren, and he gave it an amazing presentation, amazing story. He's been doing it for 20 years. He's gotten out the little booklets of a drug-free world. Uh, he's gotten out like 6 million of them or something in like 20 years. It's unbelievable the work that he's done across the world. But that would be a cause. So you could say, okay, we could do a fundraising, a fundraising event, or we can do a something that has prevention of cancer, those kinds of things. As it builds up, you can do stuff like that as well. Have a showcase, and it'll be doesn't have to be a fundraiser, but it can be to raise awareness on a cause, right? Final thought, but before I get to my final thought, so what I wanted to say was that, you know, going out, if you really want to do a writer's round, you got to go to writer's round. You got to go out weekly. I go out almost every single week. I go somewhere. I watch someone that I saw them on Instagram. I don't know them. I message them. I say, hey, I love what you're doing. I'm gonna come down to your writers round. I hope I get to meet with you, right? And then I show up, I meet with them, I chat with them. I exchange information. I I tell them if they need anything, let me know. And then I leave and I create that kind of connection. It's not really a full connection yet, but it's somebody that will remember me. I'm kind of a memorable guy just because of my appearance. I'm short and I dress. This is my normal attire when I go out somewhere, or just when I'm awake. So they'll remember, and I'll get to engage with them. And then for the next one, if I have a writers round, I can reach out to them. Hey, I'm hosting this writers round over here at this location. I was wondering if you want to come down. Pretty simple, right? And that's a big part of it. It's not on here. I didn't talk a lot about it, but I did talk about networking on an episode a couple of episodes ago. Very, very important to get out there. If you really want to meet a lot of artists and do a really good writers round, that's a key factor. So the final thought here: a writers round, it's not just about putting musicians on a stage. It's about creating an experience where songs, stories, relationships, and opportunities come together in a way that benefit everyone involved. That's the purpose. That's the purpose. Getting them all together, getting them to share their music, and getting people involved. Very, very important and very, very simple. That's the bottom line. All right, friends. I want to thank you so much. I've kept you here longer than normal. I'm at 32 minutes. I try to keep these under 30 minutes, but today we went a little long. So I hope you all have a wonderful day out there. Take care of yourselves. God bless you all. Tomorrow's show, just so I give you a little heads up on what tomorrow's going to be about. So tomorrow we're going to talk about showcases. Now, what is a showcase and how is a showcase different from a writer's round? Well, they're very different. So how showcases help artists grow. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Again, this is the journey. We have 20 episodes on this. The journey of JHS Talent Management and how I started it, how it's moving, how it's progressing, my artists and showcases and the writers round and everything that I'm working on it. And we're doing 20 of them. This is episode 6. Tomorrow will be episode 7. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central, right here on this, wherever you're watching this. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And as always, peace.